Good morning, everyone. How are we doing today? Sorry, a little bit late today. Was getting ready to come upstairs to record this with you, and I needed to take care of my puppy. So a couple minutes late. Want to let you know that here in about 25 minutes, we will be once again going live at 8 a.m. Pacific answering your questions. It's something I enjoy doing Saturday mornings. Used to tie it to likes and thumbs ups and all of that stuff, but that's not who we are on this channel. We will just try to keep putting out good content that will just grow the channel slowly, and I am okay with that. Then after that, at 9 o'clock, if you are one of my students, obviously we will get off YouTube, go over to our private Facebook group, and we will probably do a 20 to 30-minute session just answering your questions and things of that nature. So just so you know, that's the stuff I have this morning. And then if you want to know, I go work out after that. So that's my Saturday morning. First and foremost, when we talk about September 5th, Saturday, I think the first thing we have to talk about is Friday's stock market. As you know, I'm not a stock trader. I've created a couple videos here in the last week or so, sort of documenting my miserable history with stock trading. And why I bring that up is I think Friday had something for everyone, and Friday is why I am so happy not to be in the stock market. I gotta tell you. First off, it had a wild trading day. I think the range was about 800 points. This is, of course, the Dow. The other indices had the same kind of. I think they all opened higher. Then they came down. I think the low was around 11:30, and then they kind of, bounced around in the middle. I think they actually turned green about noon Pacific, finally ending, I think, a little lower. So again, why I bring up Friday's action is depending where you are, in my opinion, Friday had something for both of you. The ultra bullish traders, Dave Portnoy as an example, their strategy, and I can already hear it screaming, buy the dip, buy the dip, buy the dip, buy the dip, buy the dip. Then there's the other side going, okay, PE multiples mean something now. The great rotation. SoftBank was the bull in the china shop that moved stocks higher. Who knows? I think Warren Buffett once said, day to day, stocks are a voting machine, right? Meaning momentum, where over time they are a weighing machine. Kind of makes sense to me. So yeah, whatever. So that's what I think. So again, I am so happy not to be in the stock market because I would have not slept last night. I probably would have slept all weekend going, oh my God, what am I going to do? What am I going to do Tuesday? So instead, I'm happy to move to real estate, learn my market, understand what a good or great deal is, and just be okay sitting on some cash while we wait for deals to come. Another thing is we have seen more and more articles. I think I saw 3 this week by CNBC, or not Wells Fargo, Wall Street Journal, and I want to say the other one was Bloomberg, but that may not be right. Talking about the K-shaped recovery. This is something that if you know Jeffrey or Ultimate Bargains introduced to this channel 4 months ago, maybe, and I kind of latched onto it because I thought it just made sense. And what we need to think about, what we need to help others think about is not what does it mean to be on the bottom, but what can we do as Americans, as family members, as individuals to take ownership to get us on the other side? That's the power of the American economy, the American spirit, capitalism, all of that stuff. You are not born into some kind of servitude. There's not a caste system where you are not allowed to exit or enter another caste. Yes, without question, there are racial biases and individual circumstances that may make it tougher. But if you can find one other individual in this great nation that did it, it is proof positive that you can do it too. And that's one of the things I've tried to do on this channel. If you go back and look at our guests that we've had, I have felons, high school dropouts, people of all color, people of all ages, starting early, starting late. You have the ability to make personal choices, take ownership, and make your life better. It doesn't happen overnight. If my book, my story is any proof, you can do it, but it takes time. My journey was 15 years. I hope yours isn't, but it won't be 15 minutes. If the K-shaped recovery is real, which I think it is, and I think it will likely be all decade. I think the bifurcation is real and probably something we have to deal with because it's getting significant. But instead of being on the bottom and being unhappy, ask yourself what you can do to just take incremental steps above. And one thing that I firmly believe is home ownership. Getting that 3.5% down to get that first home puts you on the other side of the K immediately. So that's something I want to encourage. While I am losing opportunities, I am really happy to see home ownership seemingly rise. I will wait for the data to prove it, but that's what I see every day. So I'm encouraged by what's going on. Warren Buffett, again, if you've watched the channel, somebody I follow, he is selling more stock in Wells Fargo, trimmed his position significantly. I think I created a video on Warren Buffett this week or last week talking about, is he trying to tell us something? Well, I think he is trying to tell us something. I think he is trying to tell us that the future, at least short or medium term, is not all that good. I really think that's what he's telling us. I think he tells us the banks have pain. It's hard to be a bank and make money in this low interest rate environment. These bad debt reserves are going to go up. Retail, office, hospitality, oil and gas. There's just so many sectors that got smacked in this crisis that there's some significant price reductions and reallocations and stuff coming. Again, he bought Barrick Gold. He just put lots of money in Japan. I think he's getting out. He's getting out of financials, no question. He's moving dollars elsewhere. There's something there, folks. And, Warren Buffett has historically made fun of gold, and he has historically said, bet on America. I think that short-term bet might be changing. I don't know. And again, you got to remember, he does have, $130 billion to put to work. So if he puts 5% in Japan, it probably shouldn't be a big deal. It's just different. And I always look for the differences, right? Something's a trend, something kind of fits, but then something shocks. I'm like, ooh, I need to pay attention to that. So I'm asking the question, is he trying to send a signal? Because he's not going to tell us, right? He's going to make his play first. And then once he's done, he's got the whole thing put out, then he'll start talking about it. Oh, look what I did. This is why I did it, blah, blah, blah. So I'm trying to look for early indications. So that's cool. I don't know if you've heard this, but SoftBank, we may have talked about SoftBank because they were the backer of WeWork back in the day when we were talking about that ad nauseum before they blew up. Well, SoftBank purportedly has spent $4 billion, that's with a B, buying call options on big tech. And if that's so, it's obviously a bullish bet, may have been responsible for some of the froth in the market, because when those options are bought, typically what happens is the seller will hedge, right? And some of that hedging means actually owning some of the shares. So it will be interesting. It'll be interesting, to see if SoftBank is still in those call options, because right now those call options are not as lucrative as they were before, given Thursday and Friday's fall. The other thing is I always thought SoftBank was a classic Japan investment bank, meaning they thought in decades, not in years. They thought in decades, right? Slow, patient money. I'm starting to think the guy at the top, and forgive me, I don't remember his names, but I'm guessing his ass is on the hot seat, and he needs to show some returns or he is gone. He has made some spectacularly bad investments here recently. And anytime you go into options, you're not really a patient investor. You were trying to goose returns more like a hedge fund. I don't know. There's something there. And if it's true, $4 billion, that's enough to move the market. Because again, one option contract is 100 shares. So that's significant. Another thing, again, back to the K-shaped recovery, I'm starting to see increasing articles. I think they're meant to scare us, frankly. But I think it goes back to my feeling that home ownership is important. right? I am at least starting to see, I don't know about you, but there's more and more eviction stories. You know, so and so hasn't had a job since February, has some kids, can't get out, can't get unemployment, can't get a PPP loan. It's a bad situation. The landlord should definitely work with that person, in my opinion. And then we have other side of the coin is home ownership is going up. So again, it's back to personal choices and responsibility. We need to start early. I'm really glad I spoke with a high school teacher. When was that? Tuesday, I think, talking about how we can get money and investing into the high school. I thought that was an interesting conversation. So again, we need to realize we are where we are, but we need to try to improve going forward. All of us, myself included. So interesting. Not that this should be a surprise, but again, I follow two things: the consumer and cost of capital. Cost of capital had an interesting headline yesterday. Powell, right, Jerome Powell, says that rates are going to stay low for years, extended period of time. I'm going to call it a decade. I think there's a popular opinion that it's 4 or 5 years. I don't know how that could be, because in the Great Recession, which is the last crisis, it was 7 years before they started moving rates. And I don't know about you, but this one feels deeper and slower and more scarring and more painful. So to think it's going to be less than that, I don't know. I don't buy it. I'm very impressed that we went from 15 to 8.1 or 8.7 or whatever it is on unemployment. That's awesome. I think the last 3 or 4% is going to be hard to get back. But still, under 10% before the election, before Halloween, that's awesome. Let's not kid ourselves. That was an impressive V-shaped, or at least a partial V-shaped recovery. And then again, just because IPOs have had a great run, there is still talk of the largest IPO ever going out this year. The company's name is Ant, A-N-T. Go figure. But it is backed by Alibaba. It will be listed in Hong Kong and Shanghai, not the U.S. Yeah, $30 billion, probably in October. And it looks like Goldman Sachs just joined the cadre of investment banks going to kind of market it to individual investors. So that's what I got for you today. Again, so glad I'm not in the stock market. Friday's action had something for both. Dave Portnoy, buy the dips. Others, PE ratios are getting expanded. Big tech's in trouble. Get out. So I'm glad I'm not in the stock market. Well, I'm going to shut it down and start talking to you at 8 o'clock. So about 12 minutes or so. Have a wonderful, wonderful day. Take care of yourself. Bye.